Welcome to Masterpiece Tarot. Here you'll find timeless messages to guide your soul's awakening. If you're here, trust. You are meant to be. You can show your support by liking, sharing, and subscribing. These help support my mission of creating more peace on Earth. Welcome in, collective. I'm going to do some manifestation messages here, okay? Spirit, thank you for using me as a channel to bring through these messages for the highest good of the collective. I'm going to use these manifestation cards here, and then we'll clarify. We'll get 4. What is it that you would like for us to be manifesting at this time, Spirit? What do we need to be thinking about? What will help us in our lives at this time? Show us the way. Please guide our steps. Let go. Let's clarify. Let go. What are we letting go of here, Spirit? Tell us about this let go. What are we letting go of? And what will that bring if we let go? What can that bring? What might we expect? Maybe even why. I think we already know why. It's usually good to detach. Just in general, we can cause ourselves a lot of suffering when we become overly attached to anything, really. Okay? Let go. Okay, we have a Temperance Angel here. A Knight of Pentacles. And a High Priestess. The Temperance Angel is about alchemy. Okay, so this is about transmuting energies. We can take something that's negative, for example, and transmute it into something that is more beneficial. The Knight of Pentacles is about, building something in the physical, perhaps making an offering something to another to begin the process of building something. And the High Priestess is somebody who's deeply intuitive. They are connected to the intuition. I think I just said that. Like the hidden realms, sacred knowledge. They're the feminine aspect of the magician. We kind of have 2 cards that are about working with energy in the sense of, spiritual energy. I guess I'll say that. So I think what I'm getting here is kind of a philosophical message. We've got these 2 energies of this higher dimensional energy on either side of the Knight of Pentacles. And I'm kind of getting the message that, things that are impermanent are things in the material, like a tree can die and then the tree no longer exists, right? A tornado can come through and knock down your house. You can have your arm one day and then lose it the next. I mean, I'm sorry to say that, but that's kind of what I'm talking about. So, when we become attached to things in the material realm, we are really setting ourselves up for loss because, everything here is impermanent. We're prone to losing the things that we can touch or feel. Something can happen to this. But on the other hand, the things that have a more spiritual quality are things that we can carry with us no matter what, okay? it's sort of, that energy is sort of related to our, higher selves. It's higher vibrational energy, and it's of the spirit, but it also speaks more to our soul. It's getting closer to our true self, really the deepest, the core resonance that we embody or that we carry. And so I think this message of let go is also a message to say, be discerning about what it is that you choose to let go of. Some things will serve you in every dimension, okay? You could have to move around 20 different times, okay, and you could lose your home. You could encounter a natural disaster, and sometimes you're forced to let go of things in the material, but you can always carry your faith with you. This is something that you cannot lose because it exists in your mind, and it's less impermanent, okay? We have this experience as humans, yes, while we're walking the earth, but many people believe that this is a higher dimensional thing, and I happen to think that cultivating higher frequency energies can affect us in the afterlife, okay, or later in a lifetime. I don't know if that's making much sense to you, but yeah, so let go, but let go with discernment. Let's get another message. Acceptance. All right, what is it about this acceptance that you would like for us to know? Manifesting more acceptance. I would group together understanding, tolerance, forbearance, even to some degree, acceptance. Clarify, Spirit. Okay, we have a Two of Cups. We have a Four of Cups. And we have a Page of Swords. I'm kind of seeing here a kind of a relationship cycle. We have the Two of Cups. Here's acceptance. We have the Two of Cups here. Okay, these people are very clearly exchanging energy and love. In the next card, the Four of Cups, we see somebody resisting the cup of love. And here we see a Page of Swords. This is somebody who's learning how to be assertive, learning how to speak, communicate, express themselves, express their thoughts even. And so, I'm kind of getting the feeling that when it comes to relationships, this might be obvious, but we go through different phases, and the more we can cultivate a sense of acceptance for our beloved or for another person, the more successfully we'll be able to navigate through these different phases with grace. When you truly love somebody, you accept them in any condition, right? Of course, yes, you have to have your boundaries, and that's what the Page of Swords is figuring out. But it doesn't mean the love goes away. And it's always okay to, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not completely to walk away or cut something off, but you can practice restraint, I guess is what I'm saying. Some element of restraint when you need to. And so there's a sense that we not only accept the other as they are, but we also accept the way we feel and our own experience as legitimate and valuable and valid. Okay, so I think this is a message to say, perhaps look at your relationships, look at your relationship to yourself, and perhaps ask yourself, where can I cultivate greater acceptance? Another message, please, Spirit. Courage. Courage. Yes. Okay. Clarify courage, Spirit. Please clarify this message. The Six of Wands. It's a card of victory, being seen and celebrated. We have an Eight of Swords. This is feeling imprisoned. And we have an Emperor. This is a similar kind of a structured message. I think there's value in cultivating courage in each of these different situations. So if you are having a victory, for example, okay, if you're being seen and celebrated by your community, not only does it take courage to stand before everybody, that's easier for some folks than others, but it also takes courage to stay humble, to not get too much in your ego. It takes courage to figure out how to wear that crown or hold that wreath with grace. It takes self-reflection and, perspective. Obviously, we need to have courage if we are in a situation like this. There's a lot of fear here, okay? Feeling imprisoned or trapped, or, like this can be quite scary. And so, of course, we have to have courage when we're facing into our fears. And it also takes courage to, recognize how you can allay those fears. There may be some things that you can do that are it's only a matter of making up your mind to do it with all these swords. But sometimes, for whatever reason, we have a lot of resistance. The courage lives within us, and at any moment we can decide to embody that courage, manifest more of it, to help ourselves disentangle ourselves from something that isn't feeling good to us. And here with the Emperor, this is a message for people who are in leadership roles. Not only does it take courage to lead others, because there's always a risk of failure. There's always a risk that people might not like what you're doing. There's a risk that you could make mistakes that would affect lots of different people. But there's also courage that's needed to be honest with yourself about how you're using your power, and moreover, making amends if you realize that maybe you've misused your power, or that you have, maybe unintentionally or intentionally affected others in a negative way. It also takes courage to be a visionary. Okay, if you are the Emperor, you might be somebody who loves to come up with new ideas, and you might even be really good at it. But it can take courage to speak about those ideas. It can take courage to go against the grain. It can take courage to do the hard work necessary to bring those visions into fruition. Okay, because it takes time sometimes to develop plans and then carry them out. So along with courage, there needs to be also self-belief. And I think the more we can manifest courage, the more we can develop our self-belief, our sense of self-efficacy, which is basically our ability to do something on our own, do something for ourselves. We've got a rock and roller out here. Oh, it's the Amazon truck. All right. One more message, please, Spirit. One more manifestation message, please, and thank you. Connection. Okay. Yeah, that's a really nice one. Let's see what Spirit has to say about connection. What is it about this connection? Please and thank you, Spirit. Judgment. Okay, this could be about the connection that you have with the divine or with your higher self. We have a 10 of Pentacles. Yeah, manifesting connection with your your family. Leveraging that connection to cultivate more abundance. And connecting to your abundance in a way where you recognize that it's energy, not just money, right? And the Devil. It's never a good idea to bury your head in the sand and pretend that the devil doesn't exist, whether that's out there in the world or within yourself. It doesn't mean you've got to embody the devil, but you do. I think we are wise when we can at least be aware of the sneaky ways in which the devil can maneuver. And so in that sense, the connection might be about staying connected to your own critical thinking abilities. For example, you guys know how advertising is. Like if you're watching television or you're watching YouTube and you get ads, many of the ads use subliminal messaging. It's sneaky. You don't see it. And yet it penetrates into it on an unconscious level and works with your belief system. It can actually alter your belief system. A seemingly benign message can, in fact, affect your mind in a way that if you understood what was happening, you might reject it. You might decide not to watch it. Okay, so staying connected to your critical thinking to be able to recognize when devil energy is active. Okay, staying connected to your higher self to know how to deal with it. The world is made up of shadow and light. It's just the way the world is. And sometimes we actually need to embrace our shadow in service of self-protection or maneuvering. It's not that we do evil acts, but something that perhaps we've learned in the past we can pull on to inform choices that we make to defend our own light or to move us onto higher timelines. Condemning the devil, yeah, I mean, that happens all the time. And that's a type of connection. But I guess my question is, what's the energy behind or beneath condemning the devil? I'm not saying right or wrong. I'm just asking kind of a question to spur some critical thinking here. because the energy that we exude or put out there, it's energy nonetheless. The energy is just an energy. It's not attached to anything, you know. So even if you have a great cause that you are pretty sure is evil, okay? For example, in war, raping women, killing babies. This is just an example. I'm sorry to say that, but you know, hating that, yeah, very understandable, completely normal human emotion. And at the same time, maybe question that, because it's just hate. You know, I don't think the universe understands that it's attached to this deplorable act, because that's what it is. It's a deplorable act. So maybe there's a different way that you could channel that energy of hate that would actually be more constructive. So staying connected to your critical thinking, and staying connected to your higher self, because that higher self is closer to the divine, and from there you can get higher vibrational downloads to affect change in a more high vibrational way. Staying connected to the divine, I think we kind of just talked about it. This is also about higher self, and I think we talked about this guy, okay? So those are the manifestation messages for today. Thank you for listening. Bye for now.